I am sitting and holding my laptop, and I do have my phone on the tripod. Ah, ooh, okay. So I thought today I would come from a different angle and see if that works. Probably should be like this, right? Okay. Hola, Andrea. ¿Cómo estás? I see your name on that Exodus. That Exodus thing is taking a life of its own. Hey, Greta. Oh, I can believe you are watching again, you poor thing. Maybe that's a good distraction for you. Yes, yes. But I realize I won't be able to go to the luncheon because I have two classes going around that time. And I don't think it's fair to my students to miss so that I can go to Exodus. So I said, okay, if they're having that rooftop, maybe I will, because it's really close to me. Maybe I will go to that rooftop and, see some folks. Even in my group, one of the sisters posted it. I don't think I've been to any Exodus Summit gathering, but it's like everybody I know is on that list. So it should be fun. And Sabrosa, the dancing and all that, those of us who are here, we've seen it. So it's not about that. It's about meeting people, making connections. So it should be fun. I know Adelia says she's going to be here. I don't know who else. If Stephanie or I know Rashida was in town last week here. So, Andrea, I think I understand you just got here, right? You just got to Panama for good, because a lot of people, have been coming, and now, oh, okay. It's going to be a big group, so hopefully you're not going to be overwhelmed. And I don't know that everybody who's coming is a resident. Some people are coming because of the Exodus Summit, making a vacation. So that there is that. And I see people in the chats, with Rick and Elise, Rashida, Stephanie, and other people's chat. And you see the regulars, right? The names. I think it's gonna be cool to kind of put some faces with names of the people who show up. And hopefully we'll have a good day. The weather is always unpredictable in Panama at this time of year. I try to be here when able. Yes, it will be. Yeah. And Greta, every time I don't have class, trying to do a makeup is difficult because life happens. So today, hopefully, it's not going to be a long one. I want to keep my word. If I say I'm going to show up, I do show up. And this week, was it Thursday? The weather was actually good. Yes, it's gonna be. The weather was unusually nice, and once in a while we get a day like that where we're like, oh, especially for me, I was like, oh, you mean I can sit on the patio for I don't have to run inside after 6:30, and if there's a little breeze, if I stay on that side closer to my bedroom, I have a couple of chairs and table, and then I was making myself comfortable. I said, okay, I had my coffee. I'm gonna get my water, put up my laptop. I even got a little fan that this sister gifted me because it was getting a little bit warm. I set up the fan, and it was good. I'm like, oh, that was the time I was trying to get my video out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be able to do some good, work there. And then lo and behold, I kind of looked around and the fan had stopped. I was like, well, that's weird, right? And then I waited because you do have short bursts of electrical interruptions. But then, because if you're in a building with a generator, within 5 seconds you can hear it kick in, and then the internet, the everything starts working again. Well, that wasn't happening, and I was like, okay, that's weird. What's happening? So I waited. I went to all the different spots in my house. Nope, there is no electricity anywhere. Okay. But the first thing that came to mind was, did I, and I don't know, you're getting older, you may think you paid a bill, maybe you didn't. But I'm pretty good at that. And you pay online. You're going to tell you that, Andrea. You pay online. And I remember my last bill, what it was, and I know I paid because you have the app on your phone. And once you log on, and then you go to transfers, um, you get services, because that's how I set up my rent. So when it says services, the things that I have set up in the app are the utilities, the internet cable, and your cell phone. And then other people that I pay, maybe with my phone or maybe with Yapi, which is the app from Banco General, they're all set up in there. So when you go, you click on the business, if there is a bill that is due, it shows up, right? If there is no bill or you recently paid, it will be zero. And I'm like, okay, let me go back to the account and check to see, because you start questioning yourself. If I did pay it, well, I didn't have internet. There was no electricity. My new Android was working, and I think I was just using somebody's hotspot because there was no internet around. And I have not put the app on my new phone because I have three phones now that I bought this. The phone that I have my bank app on, I didn't have any Wi Fi, so I couldn't check. It's like, okay. And I'm saying, okay, the first thing I need to do, so I sent a message to the front desk. And I said, is there anything happening with the electricity? He said, llama la administración, call administration. But I'm thinking maybe he meant for me to call Naturgy, which is the company that supplies the electric. But I think he meant the administration in the building. And I'm like, why would I call them? They don't have anything to do with electric, right? So I said, oh my God, I hope it's not the fact that I have some unpaid bills, because this company, this provider, if you don't pay your bills, they will not send you reminders. You will not get late notices. I think they give you three bills. If you don't pay 3 months, it's an automatic shut off. But I knew I had paid. But still, the doubt was, you never know, there might be a screw up in the system because people have had like very high electric bills, and neither them nor the owner nor the company could explain what happens, whether you have a faulty meter or whatever. And I know several people who have had to just pay those high bills because there is no rhyme or reason why. And there's even a sister in the building. She told me she has a friend who was living in this building where I'm at, who ended up moving to another building because she kept getting chronically high electric bill that nobody could explain. So I wanted to know for myself if I know my landlady lives here in the building and she's very responsible and responsive. So I know nothing to do with her, because when I started, I'll tell you how I started. I started from zero. I ensured that I didn't have somebody else's bill transferring to my account. But I said maybe they screw up. Maybe somebody pushed the wrong address to turn off the electric. I said, oh, I'm going to just go to Naturgy, Naturgy. I said, I'm going to go to Naturgy and just see what's up. I remember exactly where it was. It's only 2 metro stops away from where I am. So I go in there, and you have to sign in. There is like a kiosk. You have to say, and they give you a number. You know how it goes. But when you are what they call hubilada, that means they see you an older person. Usually you go to the front of the line, or they have a special. So I was trying to push my number in there to, and then it gives you a ticket. And this young lady comes to me and she's like, "Can I help you?" I said, which is really nice because I don't get that all the time. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't get that in my administration office here. And then I said, "Yes." I said, "My power went out and I have no idea why." She said, "Oh, okay." So I sat, I said, about 10 minutes. Then they call your number and then they have the screen. You have to make sure your number is called right. So I took the young lady. I said, "My electric, I am good, Auntie. Thank you for checking in." I said, "I don't know what's happening." So I said, "I know I don't owe you any money." I said, "I want to be sure there's no screw up in your system that I'm paying for." And she said, "Okay, let's look." She looked, and then she got up, she talked to somebody, and then she said, "No, senora, everything is good on this side, on this end." I'm like, "Oh." And then she said, "Did you call the administration in your building?" I'm like, "Oh." She said, "Yes, usually whenever your electric goes off, that's the first thing you do." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I got myself back home, and when I was in the sala, the waiting lounge, I saw two um, gentlemen, and one of them was older. And then as I was entering the front door of my building, there the car and the two gentlemen were there. They're like, "Hi." I'm like, "Hey, didn't I just see you?" And they spoke English. I'm like, "Wow." And then he said, "I understand you and I have the same problem because I was at the office, the Natrogy office, and they told me you had the same issue. We don't know what's happening." I'm like, "Oh." So I said, "Okay." So I went up to the administration and I was going to say, "Did you send a note?" And first of all, they want to communicate with you via email. I don't check my email every single day, but my phone is in my hand. If there is a notice like that, it should be sent via WhatsApp, not in an email. And I think I mentioned that in the video. So I walk, I think they're in this on the second level and I'm way up. So I opened the door. The door was ajar. So I stood there and then I went inside and I stood there. The main lady, who is the jefa, the boss, she was assisting maybe a resident. And then I stood there. The other lady was sitting closer to me at a desk. She never lifted up her head. She didn't acknowledge that I was standing there to say, "May I help you?" She didn't say a thing. She just kept going through her file. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then the lady who was talking to the other one just kept coming up with new questions or whatever. Finally, I'm like, "Okay." I walked out. I walked out. And it's not like you're going to get an email saying, "Senora, we're sorry." Mm-mm, mm-mm, none of that. None of that. But it turns out that they were having some electrical work, and then they did warn that I think apartments on my floor might be affected. But then they said, "Oh, but it's all resolved." Okay, so I walk in. I had I had light in the kitchen, but no light on a whole wall of the apartment where the TV is, my desk, nothing. I go into the bedroom, there was light in my bedroom, but there's a little hallway going to the bathroom, no light there, no light in the bathroom. So finally, I texted because then I met the landlady in the elevator going up, and I was explaining to her. She said, "Oh, let me know what's going on." So she is feisty. My landlord is feisty. She'll be in that, she owns 4 units, so she's got voting power. She said, "Let me know what's happening." And also, and then I told her, I said, "There is light in one third of the apartment. I have no idea what's going on." Then I'm worried, right? Because if somebody's playing with the electric wires, and then you have, first of all, I went on the electric panel and I pushed everything and reset everything. That didn't do it. So she said, "Let me know." And then I think maybe after a couple of hours, so I had one fan that I plugged in an area that has electricity, and I kind of stood there and I didn't move because this weather here, this heat, this humidity, if you don't have electricity, you're gonna be just going out, taking an Uber, go to the mall, go to a cafe, go to a friend's house. You're not gonna be able to stay here without AC. Mm-mm, mm-mm, no. And isn't that why some people in the states, like in, in Texas and places like that, people will die. Old people will die in that heat. So then there's another note that says, "Oh, we're gonna be doing the same thing tomorrow," meaning yesterday. I'm like, "Oh boy." So I'm planning to just get my bag, my laptop, and go somewhere. So I was searching free Wi-Fi near me because not every cafe has free Wi-Fi. And I click, no light in the bathroom. So I'm in the shower. The water was working. I'm in the shower, and then boom, the light came on. So I have had light since yesterday, but I preface by saying that these are the things that happens, right? That happens because I keep saying the infrastructure is fragile, but it's pretty good in the city. Now, if you live outside the city, yes, they have what they call apagados. That means power outages. Apagados. Apagar means to turn off. So they turn off. Sometimes it's water, sometimes it's electric. Um, with the rain that we've had, inundations, people losing their roofs, it can get pretty uncomfortable for some people. And then we still have fires and stuff like that, mudslides. So I try not to complain, when things like that happen because it doesn't happen very often. And that's one of the reasons I stay in the city. I don't want to have to worry about being in a house. Those people who like, oh, I want to garden, I want to be in the country, I don't like noise, I don't like the city. I'm like, adelante. Because I don't do critters. I don't want little thing coming into the house and people tell you, oh well, yeah, they have scorpions in Boquete, but if you buy this product and you put it all around your house, it keeps them from going in. And I'm thinking it's probably a chemical. I don't want to be around that stuff, right? No. So I think I understand why in our old age, a lot of us choose to live in high rises. I never thought I would be one of those people because I love nature. I love green. But at the same time, I don't like bugs. I don't like critters. I'm scared, if I see a hopping frog. We had frogs where I was until somebody told me to put coffee ground and it worked. It got rid of them, right? I saw like the second little gecko came into the house. I'm like, oh, honey, I'm not a mean person, but you can't stay here. Mm-mm. I tried to spray it with the little raid, didn't work. And then it disappeared under the sofa. And the next morning, I opened my door and there it was. I'm like, okay, you're asking for it now. Mm-mm, no, we're not friends like that. So I did send it on to heaven, right? But okay, so let's talk about how you set up your electric. When you first come to Panama for your this is it visit, what I always recommend people is that you book your Airbnb for 2 to 3 weeks. Because sometimes if you don't have your apartment already set up, it might take you longer than 2 weeks to get it. It took me three. So that's an average. And some people, it's taking them more than a couple of months to get an apartment. Because a lot of times, what you see on Encuentra 24, which is like the MLS, these people are trained to make the picture look prettier. I know when I was selling my house, they'll stand at certain angle, to make something look bigger or whatever. They're tricks of the trade. Hola, Lynette. And it might take you a little while. And I've had people even having to move from one Airbnb to another because they need to extend. Now, remember that in Airbnbs, if they give it to you for 3 weeks, they probably already have somebody scheduled to come when you leave. So it's not always easy to switch and say, okay, can I stay longer? You usually have to go somewhere else. And if you come and you're staying in a hotel, chances are it's going to be pricier than staying in a long stay hotel or at an Airbnb, right? So that's the first thing. Now, those people who've done some scouting trips have already made contact. When you're doing your scouting, you are maybe hooking up with some drivers. Most of the drivers here in Panama City, now it's a side hustle for them to take you around, take you on a tour. So you have one or two, don't just have one, and you can compare prices, right? Those are fixers. Some of, well, not all the drivers are fixers. The fixers are those that are going to help you transition. They can help you with getting the apartment. They're not going to be the real estate person, but they might refer you to somebody. Or what I recommend is ask your attorney. I think the attorney is the best person to give you a referral for a real estate agent, for example. And some people haven't had much luck with the real estate agent because the real estate agents now are overworked. I don't say overworked, they're staying busy and they just don't want to spend the time if you're not ready to do it, right? To sign. And of course, we tell you not to feel pressured, especially if you come on a relocation tour where they're taking you to the beautiful building. They open the door, the windows, and give you a, a oceanfront view. And you come from Minnesota or somewhere where it's, and you don't see that, and you come, oh my God, and you're ready to sign, and we tell you, hold up, don't do it, don't do it. That's happened to several sisters. I was talking to this sister one time. She's like, "Oh yeah, oh I found this apartment. I made a deposit," and I'm like, "What? When are you moving?" "Oh, not for 6 months." No, no, because then you're gonna be responsible for paying that rent for 6 months. You don't need to do that. No. All right. So when you come on a relocation to also, or when you come to do a scouting trip, ask some people, go into the Facebook group, ask for recommendations for real estate, for a fixer, for doctors. People get referral for housekeepers, even though I have something to say about the housekeepers, drivers. So you want to have some stuff situated so that when you come, you're in that Airbnb, and then your first thing I tell you to do is take a couple of days and just rest. Just let everything go for a couple of days. It's not going to fall apart. The world's not going to end. And if it does, it was meant to end. So relax. Just go out, get some water, get some fruit, order in, sleep, and detox. Get some of that stress off of your shoulders. You know what I'm talking about, right? That alertness, and you were like this, and then you were working, you were putting things, together, checking your list, double checking your list. That is high stress. Your cortisol level was way high. Your epinephrine is spewing. You on a high. You need to come down, sis. You need to come down. All right. So take a couple of days and just rest. Watch TV, order in, just be silly, sleep, get a massage, just relax. Okay? Then you can make contact with, you could make contact with your attorney before if you come in to get your residency. But if you already have that, then you don't have to worry about it. And start looking at your list maybe on day 3. And I know if you've been looking at Encuentra 24, you kind of look at a couple of places. First of all, when you're looking for an apartment, we tell you to write down your must haves. All right. And I heard Jackie say that the other day, Jackie from Panama Relocation Tours. Just like when you are thinking of moving abroad, I give you that self assessment list that says, do I have what it takes? Have I traveled abroad? Am I open minded? Am I a problem solver? Right? Can I live with less? Can I function if things don't work out the way I expect them to work? That's a big one. Can you just roll with the punches? Those are the people who are going to make it in a different country. But if you like everything, like I was talking to one of my newest students, she was talking about Amazon, and I was telling her, I said, yeah, I just now ordered a couple of things after 3.5 years. I used to say, if they don't have it here, I don't need it. If somebody is coming, I could say, can you bring me that? Right? If not, I make do. Right? So she's like, you mean my Amazon Prime's not going to help? I'm like, no, sis. There's no need to have Amazon Prime because it's going to get to your address in Miami in 2 days and it might take you a week or week and a half to get here. So what's the point? What's the point, right? I understand there was a class action lawsuit about that, but it took me a while to get rid of my Amazon Prime. They were not gonna let me go easy. When you get sucked in those things, they don't want to let you go. You gotta just move heaven and earth. Oh my God. And that's the way the system works. They put so many stumbling blocks for you to say, oh, forget it. You could still charge me or whatever. I'm like, hell to the no. So you've been looking at apartments, but what are you looking for? The people who come and say, I know I can't stay in Panama City, it's too hot, it's too busy. Good, check. That means you already clear in your head as to what you want. Then don't waste your time looking at anything here. So now you say, okay, but where would I go? How about David? I have a sister the other day. She said she went to David to check it out. Yes, they have a Facebook group for that community. Join because they're always going to ask you, are you planning on relocating and how far away are you of doing that? Right? Ask the questions. People are so generous with their information. They're going to say, oh, if you need something else, you can DM me. I'll help you. I just went through that. I'm just amazed, but they will. So if you say, for example, I'm going to say the city because that's where I am. If you say, no, no, I'm a city girl, it's going to be cities for me. You can go into a WhatsApp group and say, where are you and what do you like about your area? Why did you choose the area? Yesterday, I dropped a video about a very popular neighborhood, El Congrejo. I took my phone and I walked around and talked the whole time, telling you about the area and why some people like it. And people they will say, "Oh, thank you for taking a walk to my neighborhood. I love it for this. I love it for that." Those things are helpful, right? So ask people what areas they're at. Oh my goodness, Sonia. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Ask people, where are you and why do you like it? Do you like the walkability? Do you like the fact that you can walk to this store, that store? Do you like the fact that the pharmacy is closed? Do you like the fact that you're close to a hospital? What is it that they like? And does that match what you want? Right? But if you say, oh, I want oceanfront, that a certain person who's watching says, Andrea Atkins, my friend, hola, all the way in shit, Florida, or New York, I think it's Florida. But anyway, so you ask and be true to yourself to what you're looking for. Do you want oceanfront? Does it not matter? Are you okay with city views? Some people have issues with height. This lady said she liked El Congrejo because the buildings are not as high. My building has 64 floors, so that's like high. And some people are like, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, it didn't bother me, and I'm fine with it. But if that's an issue, that's something that's important that you want to put on your list of must have. Oceanfront, city views, how many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms do you want? Do you want the apartment to have appliances? Most of the time they do. All right. What else are you looking for? Do you want a building with 24-hour security? You're my older people. So if that's important to you, you have to put it down on the list. Well, elevators, hopefully something that is a given for you because going up and downstairs, that's a no bueno. Elevators. Do you need a gym? And we do have outdoor gyms around here. Yesterday before, when I was walking through El Congrejo, in that park, they do have outdoor gym. And if you don't have in the building where they have gym, that is something that you want to make sure. So now, if you have a realtor, you hand them that list. The other thing that's important for your list is your budget. And then what you do, you go into the Facebook group, you say, what is the average cost of how many bedroom in that area? Right? And then you're going to get information about each area. What's special about, for example, San Francisco? Sonia is watching. San Francisco, they have larger apartments. Some of them have 3, 4 bedrooms. I don't need that much. Some have ocean front. Some have city views. They say it's walkable. I say it's not. The sidewalks are horrible. If that's a problem for you, you might want to cross that off your list. The other thing that's good about San Francisco, it's close to the mall, to Multiplaza Mall, and it is a foodie town. You find all sorts of restaurants there and coffee shops, etc., etc., just like El Congrejo. So, and then again, I'm a list person. I would get a piece of paper and I would put my favorite neighborhoods. Hopefully, when you came on your scouting trips, you did take some tours, so you get a feel for the place. And don't just stay in the car. Get out, walk around, go order food. Just get a feel, the vibe. That's important to me. I don't know about you. Okay, so your budget, and what I've heard people say, if your budget is like 1,500, and I hope they're not listening, tell the real estate agent 1,200. Because if you say 1,500, trust me, they're gonna show you some 1,800 a month. Okay? So be very conservative. And let me tell you from someone who is renting a 2 bedroom. Now I know some people have 3 and 4 bedroom. I don't want all that space. I want to go down south to 1 bedroom. But I've been in this 2 bedroom for 3 years, and every time I think about, well, my list is coming up, maybe I should start looking around. The thought of moving is annoying to me. I don't like to move. That's work. And then every time I look at my view, I'm like, I don't want to miss that. I don't want that. I like that. Right? So that's a decision you have to make. All right? So stay on budget. Try to get what you want. Knowing that, and you have my apartment checklist, you can go to the front page and you can download it. All right? And check everything, the light, the fixtures, run the water. This sister, she said, I had your list. I checked everything, but she forgot to check the hot water and she didn't have hot water. I don't know about you. Maybe you don't mind taking cold showers, but even in Panama, cold showers are like not fun. Okay? So make sure you do all that and give yourself time that it's taking longer to get an apartment and you're not gonna get every single thing that you want. All right. So make sure your must-haves, right? You may not like the furniture. So what? You could change it if it's that bad, right? Noise level. I get questions a lot about where I live in Balboa. Oh, Maggie, is the noise something that you can't live without? But those of us who are here, yes, it's noisy, but it's not like a deal breaker, especially when you look at the view. I'm like, the noise, the view, that's okay. I'm good. Right? So you make up your mind as to what's most important to you. And most of these apartments have noise canceling doors. So unless somebody is really throwing a racket out there, I don't hear anything. Yes, I hear the ambulance every so often. There is a hospital not too far from here. Didn't you hear ambulances where you live, wherever you come from? Come on. And I think that's the thing. People come to these countries and they have unrealistic expectation. They are looking for perfection. They are looking for the internet is never down. That's a lie. It does happen. We never go out of electricity. That's a lie. It does go off. Oh, the water never shuts down. That's a lie. We do have water. So if you are not somebody who can roll with the punches, and Sonia, who's watching, she's had, when they come to do the inspection of your building, if you have gas every 3 years and they shut it off for like weeks at a time, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got to prepare for that. Okay? All right. But I don't know why I'm talking about all that, because today we're supposed to talk about Natter G, how to get your electric setup. Well, you have to have the appointment first, right? Before you can get your electric set up. So that's coming after the appointment. So when you start watching, looking at apartments, if you have an agent, or if you're going to do some on your own, sometimes you can do some things on your own and deal with the owners, because the owners are going to pay the real estate agent their commission, not you. Even though I have heard that some real estate people are saying, oh, I have 4 houses or 4 units I can show you today, but it's going to cost you $200. Well, that might be a scam, because they're not supposed to charge you for that. Okay? So, and then don't ever sound desperate, whatever you buying or you want, because once you do that, they have one up on you. The price goes up and everything changes, right? Because you want to be in control, not them in control. Does that make sense? So make sure you check everything thoroughly. And then you have like 2 or 3, and then you're going to do a compare and contrast. And sometimes you can ask to go back and do another walkthrough. Make sure you didn't miss anything. Check that checklist and make sure you're checking everything. Now, if you have a unit that had someone who recently vacated, they may or may not have electric, right? If they have electric, my preference and recommendation is that you switch the account to your name. But I understand from some sisters here that some owners do not want to switch it, because every time somebody moves in or out, you got to go and change it. It might be a bit annoying for them. But for my peace of mind, because people have gotten in situation where the owner doesn't pay the bill, or the owner or the previous tenant had outstanding charges, well, the company doesn't care about that. Somebody's going to pay. And before they switch it to you, they're going to make you pay the balance. So make sure, for me, the way it worked, my landlady, and I think Sonia got into something with her apartment too. My landlady said, oh, if you want, you can leave it in my daughter's name, because she's got 4 units, and she's spreading the wealth. One of this apartment is under her daughter's name. And she said, you can leave it and pay me every month. I'm like, no, 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 no. I want my jubilado discount, because as residents and retirees, you get 25% off your electric bill. If you have an e-cedula, Andrea, okay? Do you have an e-cedula, Andrea? So don't go with your residency card and your passport and asking for that. I don't think that works. They're going to ask you for your e-cedula, because that is a national ID card. They have one for the locals and one for extranjero, meaning foreigners. It starts with an E. Not yet? Okay. But I think, I'm not 100% sure. I think they're going to want to see that to give you a discount. And you can start without the discount, and then when you get it, go and change it to get the discount. Because when I went to set mine up, we did the paperwork. I asked for the discount. They took a copy of my cedula. And when the first bill came, my landlady said, Maggie, did you get the discount? So I sent the bill to her. She said, no, you didn't get it. So I had to get myself over there again, saying, here's the paperwork. I asked for it. You didn't give it to me. So you cannot assume that they're going to do something just because you ask for it. You got to be alert and pay attention. Okay? So again, do what you can to make sure they switch the account to your name. Make sure the account starts at zero, that there are no outstanding charges, bills on that account. And I do understand that if you are not an Airbnb, but if you have people coming in and out, and that's probably one of the reasons the owners don't like to do 6 month leases, right? And if when I was doing my 6 month lease, I kept it in the owner's name, and she was really good. Every month, she would send me a screenshot of the bill. I would do my transfer online, and then she would send me a receipt saying it's paid. So it was fine. But let me tell you, when you are watching and reading the comments on these WhatsApp groups, it doesn't happen all the time. A lot of those owners are screwing us over, finding ways not to give you a deposit back. So you have to be well aware and well connected. There's a sister, one of my students, she was in an apartment, she moved to another apartment, and things are not working out for her. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And she's like, I'm moving again. I'm like, oh, does that mean you're going to lose your deposit? She said, yes. I mean, you keep moving like that, and every time you have to do the first and last, it's going to be pricey, right? And I said, you need to check with your attorney, because there is one of the attorney groups here had written, she got a newsletter and sent in the newsletter about the law, and she quoted the law number that says for real estate, if there should be 30-day notice on either side. If the owner is saying, oh, I want to sell the unit, or I'm coming back, or whatever, they give you 30 days notice, they can do that legally. But you have the same right. If you say, okay, I don't like this apartment, or you're not responsive, you're not fixing things, I'm giving you 30 days written notice. They should honor and give you a deposit, as long as you have not defaulted on your responsibilities. That is why I recommend that you have your attorney review your lease, and you can be clear, because it's like 4 or 5 pages long, and they use the long legal paper. You need to be sure about what your responsibilities are. And in most of the units, of course, your electric is on you, your your internet cable is on you. Nobody has landline phones anymore. Everybody has a cell phone. And a lot of the time, the owner will stipulate in the contract that you're responsible for maintenance of the AC unit, not replacement. Make sure it's clear of that, right? For my uh, lease, I am responsible for a cleanup of the AC units every 6 months. So every 6 months, I get it done, and then I email her the receipt of that it's done, and I keep a copy for myself. So that when it's time for you to say, okay, we're going to part ways, then they don't have a legal um, reason to hold your deposit. But some of them, because remember that not most, a lot of those units are owned by foreigners. They're not local. And a lot of the issues that we have to do with other foreigners, not the local. The rudeness, the want to keep your deposit. Those are other people from other countries who are investors here. They buy these units, they manage the unit. They could be in Spain, so you can't ever get in contact. That is a problem. I would prefer to have my landlord being local. That's my preference, right? Or if you're lucky, like somebody I know they have a good relationship with the property manager, like I have a good property manager for my property at home, you want that. The other thing you want to be sure that is spelled out in the lease is that who's going to replace or repair the appliances. If the oven goes off, who's going to repair or replace it? If the washer dryer, I've heard people having to replace those because it wasn't clear in the contract. And these folks know that you don't understand Spanish. And even though you could say, oh, I can just go to ChatGPT and have it translated, that's not enough as far as I'm concerned. You need to have somebody who understands the local laws to interpret it for you so you can understand. Um, so appliances, like water leaks and stuff like that. You want to make sure that's spelled out. And you have the right to say, I want to add that in the contract to be sure. Another thing that people get into trouble with is mold. We are in a tropical area, and mold is a risk that we all run. That's why you are religious about using your dehumidifier, emptying the canisters. If you're not going to be home, make sure somebody comes into the apartment, air it out, turn the AC on, turn the fan on, because what breeds the mold is darkness and wetness, humidity. All right. So it needs to be stipulated in the contract if there is a mold issue, who's responsible for it. I had a sister who had a mold problem. She has asthma, so she cannot tolerate it. And when she had to call someone to, and then the owner is like, it's on you. And then you have to go look at your contract and say, oh no, it says you're responsible. Because even if it's in there, they're going to try to make you do it. All right. So don't assume again, because you come into Panama, that everybody is ethical and everything is going to be done. They look, you're dealing with human beings. They're going to try to get one on you. And I know people who've lost their deposit 2 or 3 times. It adds up. I don't know about you. It adds up. I have that kind of money to give to somebody. Hey, Carol, the realtor, how are you? She just got back. Shouldn't you be taking a nap? But anyway, if you don't have the people we call a fixer, the fixer is a local who understands how things work and can several naps. Good. Um, who understand the local laws and can facilitate all this stuff for you, right? They might recommend a realtor, even though I would get a realtor recommendations from friends, from my attorney. I wouldn't get that from the fixer, because you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of thing. That goes on too, right? And you may find, I've had people find working with 2 or 3 realtors, because again, there are so many people coming here that the realtors have a hard time keeping up. That's why if they say to you, what is your timeline? And you say, oh, maybe in 3 months, you're not going to hear from them. And people lament that, oh, I'm not getting any response. Or they say, I was in that department, but you're trying to lowball them, and somebody comes behind you and say, we'll pay full price for it. Boom. You got to start all over again. That's happening a lot now, because there's so many people moving to Panama, and people say, well, you're Maggie responsible. You're saying how nice it is. People are coming. Yes, they are. And I'm not the only one. My attorney does the same thing. She does all those videos telling how wonderful and cheap Panama is, so people are coming in droves. But like I tell people, I was afraid that there would be casualties. And I'm starting to see it, especially in the younger population. They come here and have a job, and their expectations are this, and it's like, it's not that kind of place. Got to tone it down. Manage your expectation. Roll with the punches. All right? So I would get recommendations from my lawyer, or from people from group like ours, or any Facebook, WhatsApp group. Yesterday I watched a video of a couple. There's so many young couples now with kids. And they were talking about how their experiences with different groups here in Panama. And I'm sitting here saying, "Ooh, I hope SWRA we never get talked about like that." I mean, some of the stuff they were saying, it's like, the clicks and things, and recruiting members, for something in I'm like, no, no bueno, we are not. As long as I'm here, we're not going to do that in SWRA. That's not going to happen. Okay. So make sure you do your due diligence. That's why you don't want to be in a rush. Never let people see that you're desperate, right? Stick to your budget. Don't um what's the word I'm looking for? Uh hmm, it's like I want something, but I'm gonna set. Don't settle. Don't settle for things that you don't like. You check for mold before you get in. Get your flashlight and look everywhere. In the closet is a good place. In the bathroom where there is humidity, the shower. You need to check. You become an inspector gadget because that's where you're gonna live, right? If something needs to be fixed, I think they had to paint where I was coming here. She didn't have a TV, and she's like, I'm like, where's the TV? She's like, oh, you need one? I'm like, heck yes. Some places have more than one, and you don't even want one. There wasn't a closet in one of the rooms. I'm like, where people are supposed to put their clothes? She said, oh, you want me to put? Yeah, and I'm not signing until you do. Okay? So know all that. How much notice do you need to give your landlady? And every time you it comes to renew, is it an automatic renewal or do you have to sign again? Before, I mean, 90 days before my first renewal, I sent an email to my landlady and I'm like, okay, time is approaching. What are your feelings? I'm a good tenant. I know that, but she may have plans. And I said, are you planning on increasing the rent? She's like, oh, no, you're a good tenant. No, I'm like, okay, because if you're increasing it, I'm out of here. And she has been a good landlord. I've had no issues with that lady. Well, she doesn't want to change her units that are old, but all right. Nothing is going to go 100% of the time. All right. So let's assume you find an apartment after a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and you're going to have to be boots on the ground. You're going to be seeing lots of apartments, right? But take your notebook with you. Put the address, put the specs, how many bedroom, how many bathroom, and if you're like Carol, you're gonna do a spreadsheet, and you're gonna say, this is this one, check, check, check. Stay organized so you know what you're looking at, and then make your decision based on the data that you have. Not it's like, oh, that one was cute. Don't choose your home because it's cute. Choose it because it's the right one for you. You can walk, you can go to the store, your doctor is not too far, the building is nice, the staff are nice, there is elevator, there is security. These things that are important to you. Now remember, I'm an old lady, I'm talking to old people. Now, if you're a young couple, you may have different needs. We're not talking to you. Okay? We're talking about those of us who need security. You want to stay on budget, right? The noise you can manage. The noise I dealt with in the other apartment, I couldn't wait to leave because it was overbearing. It's not overbearing here. It's tolerable, okay? Around the holidays or weekends, yes, it gets a little, but nothing that would make me pack up and leave. That one thing cannot make you pack up and leave. It would be more, other things. So you sign the lease after your attorney has approved it. You get your copy, make sure the owner notarizes your lease. Everything needs to be notarized in Panama. Seriously. And they have those notaries all over the city. You go to Highway 50, wherever you go, you're gonna say notary. You go in there, you say how much, and they want your ID, your passport, or your residency card to confirm your identity, and then they're gonna sign and stamp it. You're gonna need that because every time you change your address in Panama, you're gonna have to go to immigration and update, and they want to see a notarized lease. Very important. Okay. So you want to ask them to do a cleanup of your unit before you get in on the landlord, not your job. All right, to do a deep cleaning. And then, of course, hopefully they would go and introduce you to the staff, the office, give you your keys, and you're supposed to have one or two parking spaces. I think I have one. My landlord in the beginning, she's like, are you open to renting it to someone? Because some people who are working in the area may have a hard time finding a parking spot on the street. and they're always looking to rent from someone like us. She mentioned it to me one time, and I'm like, yeah, that would be nice. She said, you have a car? No, I don't have a car. And then she said, oh, quizás you could make un dinerito. Dinerito. I mean, a little bit of money. You know, they pay like $30 a month for it. And she's never mentioned it again. But I've renewed my lease twice and she hasn't increased my rent. So I'm like, you want a $30 a month? You can have it. Adelante. I don't want to deal with it. So I'm cool with that. But that is something you can make $20, $30 a month by renting your space to someone else. All right. Let's see. And then you're moving in. Those fixers can help you. Everybody will give you a referral for somebody to help you move. Because remember, expat services in this country, they make money because all of us need something. They're going to go with you to help you open a bank account. They'll give you tours, they're charging you. They take you to Cologne, they take you to other places, they're charging you. So they're making money off of us. Okay? So they will say, oh, my friend has a truck, they're going to come and help you. That's why personally, I don't recommend people ship a bunch of stuff over here. It's just too much of a headache. I'm like, yeah, and there is a sofa here. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I'm like, I'm not going to spend money changing it because when I leave, then I have to move it somewhere else. No, that's too much work. I don't want that. I came here with 3 suitcases. I want to go down to one so that if I need to move, I take my suitcase. I do have a dining room table that I would have to have someone take for me. It's not that big a deal. And I bought some three bar stools. Those are the only thing I own, right? And a few pots and pans and stuff, put them in a couple of boxes. I want to live light. So your moving day shouldn't be heavy. But if you're someone who is like somebody else I know, bringing all your stuff, so, oh yeah, I have my sofa, my table and stuff. I didn't need any of that. I got rid of everything and I came with just the suitcases. That's just me. Okay. So the other thing is to take your time about setting up your apartment. Don't go blow your budget and buying this, buying that. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Right? I spent 6 months in my apartment with one skillet. And I cooked every meal in that one skillet for the 6 months because I knew I was gonna leave. And I didn't want to I have more now, right? I have more now. I'd have to get a few boxes. All right, so if the electric is already on, and all you need to do is go to Naturgy to switch the account to your name, which is what I recommend. If the owner insists they don't want to change it, then you're taking a risk that you can ask them. You say, then every month, I need you to send me the bill, and then I make the transfer to your account. Then you send me an acknowledgement that it's being paid. The fixer can help you translate, convey the information to the landlord. But if you're doing it Maggie's way, the landlord or the property manager will go with you to Naturgy. What you want to bring with you is your e-cedula. Now, you can get your electric turned on without having the e-cedula. You bring your passport, bring your residency card, and I don't believe they ask for deposits. I don't remember paying it. You know how when you get power turned on at home, you have to give like a deposit? I don't remember that. I don't remember that. My landlady went with me. She had her account number, and then they say, was there any balances? She paid whatever little bit that was, because in between me coming in and the unit being vacant, there was a little bit, very small bill, so she paid it. And then we had to start a new account, right, with the correct address, the corregimiento, which is your neighborhood, and then they take your ID, right? And then they set you up. If the electric was already on, it's just a matter of switching the account. There is no mail delivery here in Panama. You are not going to get a bill like this. The only reason I had this bill is because I went in my email and printed it because I needed to do it to update my address when I went to immigration. Your bill is going to come to you via email. And there's a number. Ouch. I'm holding this laptop. There's a number on top here. They want that number, okay? They call that a subscriptor, okay? The number for the factura is the bill. That's not what they want. They want to be sure your address is correct and that they have the NIS number, all right? Now, you have two ways of paying your bill in Panama. You can go to a supermercado. A lot of those food stores have like a little desk for pagos. That means you can pay some bills in there. And I know sisters who do that. They go to Ray and then they pay their bills there. I'm like, yeah, I don't go to Ray that often. I don't want to do that. After you get your power turned on, the next thing you really should do is to start. Yes, you can pay through Yapi. Right. I was going to say just that, Carol. You need to get a bank account. All right. If you don't have a bank account, and I know some people who don't have a local bank account, then they're going to go to Ray and pay cash. They go to the ATM, take their money out. I would be tired of doing that every single month. Seriously. But to start your a bank account, some attorneys' offices are offering that. There is one attorney group. I think they charge like $3,000, and then they did the residency. They did the cedula, which is the national ID card that you do like 2 or 3 weeks after you get your permanent residency. And then they also offered the open the bank account because they already have your information, right? And then this sister said she had the appointment to go get her bank account. She said just like at the immigration office, there were like 8 or 10 of them, like you in school line, and they all went in. And the person from the attorney's office had all their file and went in and gave all that to the staff, and then boom, she said they were out in 15 minutes. Now, if you're going to do it by yourself or with the fixer, it will take you a bit longer, okay? Because why does it take long for them to start to give you a bank account? Panama does a lot of checks and balances. They're very worried about money laundering. Apparently, there's some of that going around. So they want to know the source of your money. So they want to see your benefits letter, whether it's from Social Security or your pension. You bring your passport, your cedula if you have it, or your residency card. That's pretty much. And they want to see your lease. Oh, I forgot. They want to see your lease, a copy of your lease. 40 minutes. That's pretty good. 40 minutes is good. I did it myself. I was there for 3 hours. And the 3 hours is only because I got ticked off because everybody was sitting in my area. They were calling and coming in, and they didn't call me. So I went up there and I'm like, I want my passport back. Give me my passport back. Oh, Miss Lazar, we'll call you up. I'm like, stop playing games. Yes. So the fixers definitely, because they know the staff, they can get things done a lot faster. Okay. But I think having a bank account is important. Now, the two major banks that people use here, expats, immigrants, us, Banco General. I mean, General Bank, they don't have their information in English online, but they are very, very accustomed to us because so many of us are opening bank accounts there. And they have the famous Yapi. app. Once you get situated in there, there's something called a token. Every transaction, they have to set you up for that. It creates a token, it's another layer of identification or whatever. I don't ask me. But you need that. You put your money in and you walk out with a debit card. A debit card that you can go to any Banco General and you can take money out. You don't get charged any fees. The Yappy app that you download on your phone. Oh my God. This is some the first time I got Yappy crazy. I was like, scan, all kinds of things because I was having to go to the ATM to get cash because if I go to San Felipe or I go to the fish market sometime, they're not really good with credit cards, right? So I always had to get cash, but with Yappy, I don't have to do that. You can pay your rent with Yappy. You can pay everything with Yappy. The way you do that, you set it up on your online banking. When you get your account number for Nato G. So Carol, did you end up figure out how to do that? You go into there and it says, um, this is third party. Where's my phone? You got to set it up. I set up my rent like that and all my bills. I needed my landlord's account number, and her account is at Banco General. And even though And even though I had another bank, if you do bank to bank transfer within Panama, you don't get charged. It might take a few more days for the transfer to go from Benismo, which is another bank, to Banco General. I remember doing a transfer to someone on a Thursday. It did not clear until Monday. But if you do it online, like when I pay my rent, it's automatic. You know how in the States it will say it will be available if you do it after 2 o'clock, it's about tomorrow. No, here I have no problem, right? You set up the payment. It will ask you payment to third parties, that means to my landlord, or payment for services. And the service, you set up Naturgy, which your account number, and then once it's clear, it will tell you it's accepted, and then you do it. It's like boom, boom. And then you get a voucher, of course. If you want to save it in a file, you can. Or for me, I just forward share the voucher with my landlady so she knows that the rent's been paid. Another thing to remember, I don't know, with your landlord, once the due date, my date is the 10th. I moved in on the 10th, and then you get 5 days grace period. All right. So I need to pay by the 15th, and that's why I send her the voucher, because if it doesn't show in her account till the 15th, it's not on me, right? And I don't. She doesn't worry about that. Okay. After that, if you don't pay your rent within that 5 day grace period, then they have some fees, that $50 a day or something like that. All right, it's important because I remember when I got robbed, when they stole my wallet, and I didn't have, everything was frozen, and I was in that 6 month lease, and I sent a note to the landlady, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to tell you, my wallet was stolen, so I don't have access to my cash, so I may be a couple of days late for this." She said, "Well, you know what the contract says. You're going to accumulate this $50 a day." I'm like, she did not even say, "I'm sorry this happened to you." Manage your expectations. Okay. She was not showing any empathy or sympathy for me after I got robbed. But that's okay. Water under the bridge. But that's how you set up your electric. Make sure there is nothing that is outstanding on the previous account. You don't want to inherit anything. There's a sister here. It happened to her twice because her owner, who is out of the country, did not want to switch the account to her name. And the first time is because the property manager who's responsible for managing all this stuff did not pay on time. And like I said, no warning. They're not going to send you late notices or warning. We're going to do it. We're fixing to do it. Nope. It's like, choop. Then I think for them to reconnect you, I think there's a charge. And it's not going to happen today or the next day. Tranquilo, mañana. Remember, it's not today. All right. When it comes to, yeah, just try to stay on the right side of the law. Whenever I see the little bill comes in my email, I just go ahead and pay it because I don't want to worry about it. Did I do it? Did I not do it? No, just pay it. And you always have a record. Keep your record, okay, that you paid it. That's why I went there this week. I was like, oh, maybe they messed me up because I know I don't owe you any money. What do you mean the electric is cut off? But it was the building. All right. Now, the other thing you want, oh, people struggle with that is the internet. Oh, my goodness. Let me see, how many days did they take to come and set up the internet? I think maybe a couple of days. Now it's taking a lot longer. I've had people who have moved and no internet for over a week because they have to come, do the wiring, set up the router, things that I don't understand. For you to get Wi-Fi, you're going to have Wi-Fi on your cell phone. But the router Wi-Fi to connect to your TV, they have to come. The technician has to come, which is one reason why you need to have a 507 number. You need to have a local Panama number because en route, they're going to call you. They don't want to call your US number. All right? Now, I don't want to speak like an old lady about the SIM cards. I have a SIM card for Panama. I no longer have a SIM card from over there because that wasn't going to work for me. But once you have the SIM card and the Panama number, wherever you are in the country, you're going to have access to Wi-Fi. When you leave your house, you have access to Wi-Fi. But you also can get the internet through the router once they hook it up. But if they don't hook it up, you already have your cellular number. So the next thing you need to do is to get your cellular number if you don't have one. You don't need to have two phones. I have three right now, but I don't need to do that. If you have a good Android or a iPhone, usually have a couple of spots for your SIM cards. So at the airport, I tell people, buy one for 7 days and then go get situated with an account here. To any malls you can go. Tigo is one of the main ones. T-Mobile. We used to have Digicel. They got rid of Digicel, but I think someone said, is it Starlink or somebody else is coming? I don't know. All right? But we're talking about $25, $30 a month for unlimited Wi-Fi, unlimited messaging, WhatsApp. Come on. That's a good price. Okay? I don't even know if they give us a lot of discount with the phone. I'm not sure. But, it's like going to the metro. I paid 25 cents for the bus, 35 cents for the metro, the subway. And then someone said to me, oh, you can go up there, get a special card with a discount, or you pay 27 cents for. I'm like, you know what? I'll make a donation. I'm not going to ask for a discount for that. Just like you don't go to every single restaurant and ask for your jubilado discount. If it's a small restaurant, I'm not asking for it. Okay. And they have the right to say, no, we're not doing it for you. Right. But of course, if I go to a large chain, yes, I'm going to ask for my discount. And the biggest discount for me with the jubilado is that 25% of your airfare and 25% of your electric, your utilities. That is gold. That is gold. But you get it for so many other things, doctor's visits, hotels, etc., etc. Okay, so go to Tigo or T-Mobile, and then, of course, your fixer will go with you and get that all done. Otherwise, you're going to muddle your way through it. I went and did it just because I can. All right? And they're going to say $25, and they put the SIM card inside your phone, and then no problema. Not a problem. Then you go to Tigo and you say, they do have like bundle. Tigo can do your cell phone and your internet and cable. I didn't do that. Not sure why. I did Tigo for my internet and cable, and then I did, yeah, I have, yeah, T-Mobile or Mass Mobile. That's what I have for my cell phone. All right. And, oh, never had an outage. Is it for your internet? The old landlord. Who you talking about, Auntie? Who you asking? Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good. Now, Tigo has gotten a bad rap. They used to be really good, but they have had several outages. Uh, one day it went out like around 9 o'clock at night, and I went to bed. It still wasn't bad. I think it came back up like in the middle of the night. So, but I don't sweat that so much. I keep thinking to myself, what did we do when we didn't have internet? Right? So I try to take it all in stride. But the AC in this weather, that's major. But I can still get dressed and go out there and go to the mall and go somewhere. So we have options. Or there's water. I could jump in the ocean. They have crocodiles there across the pond. I'm like, oh no 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 no. You were asking if that was your former landlord who had no empathy. Yes, yes, that was the lady when I first came and I had a 6-month lease. And I mean, she's a beautiful lady, very nice. But I felt some kind of way. But then you just move on. I told you I got robbed, and you telling me, well, if you don't pay on time, you're gonna have this and this. And I remember this, my landlord here, she is Colombian, and I don't know what I had 1 month. Something happened. I think it's when I was trying to get my phone. When I came back from South Africa, I gave my US phone number back. Worst mistake I ever made. One of the worst. And then when I came back, I could not access my account because that two-step verification, that's another thing. Keep your US number. Do not get rid of it. So you will be paying two phone bills. Your phone bill from the US and your phone bill here. That is part of your monthly expenses. Don't touch that because that was a nightmare. So I sent her an email and I'm like, I'm working on this and I'm having some issues. She's like, no worries. She said, I know you're a good person. And she did not charge me anything. She showed empathy. The other one, mm-mm. So, c'est la vie, right? So set up your electric first. Make sure everything is hunky dory. Then you should have gotten your cellular phone from the airport with your SIM card and then transfer it to Tigo or Massmobile and then your internet. And they have to come actually and do the wiring, set up your router, blah, blah, blah. But I know there's a sister who lives not too far from me, and she has a lot of issues with their internet. And I don't know which company that. Hola, Jesta, my friend. I don't know which company she's using, but they have internet like in the main room, but not in the back rooms. But they have different internet providers here. They have Starlink, and there is another one, Whippet. I've heard of Whippet, and people talk about these companies in the WhatsApp group. Apparently, the Starlink is the best. The Whippet, somebody said they were good, and somebody said no, they're not that great. So I'm like, so I don't have any reason to change Tigo right now because I mean it's not that bad, right? And I just don't want to have to wait on them. They say they're coming, they don't come. Mañana, it's like, eh. Mm-mm. So, and then you go on your Yappy or in your bank account and you set those. You set them one time. And you know what else I like about that? I don't know if you noticed that, Carol, when you go into your account, first of all, never access your account on a public Wi-Fi. I just people don't do that. Okay, lots of scammers around here. So you go in there and you say, well, let me see, because I saw the bill, because the Naturgy bill is going to go across your email that says factura, it's coming. First of all, they read the meter like they did yesterday, and then the next day, the next 2 days, they send the bill. All right, you click on it, you look to see how much it is, and you go in your account and you just click on it, and guess what? The same amount that you owe shows up. So they are integrated. Not your rent, but your cell phone, your electric, your internet cable. The exact amount comes up. All you have to do is click, boom, it's done. Okay? So I like that. I like that very much, that everything is integrated. All right? Are you able to use Yappy when you go buy food, Carol? Are you able to? I use my debit card when I go to the store to Ray, but there are a few places in town that are not accepting Yappy now, and I don't know why. When I go to the farmers market, Dundee RV, they used to take Yappy. They say they don't, so I'm not sure what's happening there. Hola, Carpedium. So I don't know what's happening there, but Yappy, I use Yappy a lot when I order online, when I order deliveries, food deliveries. I go to the store, but I don't know. See, I don't know if they would take it at the supermarket, like at Reba Smith. I doubt it. I doubt it. But anyway, I'm super happy with having Yappy, especially when I go to the farmers market to San Felipe and I can just put their numbers in there or scan. Oh, it is so nice. It is so nice. But anyway, that is how you set up your services. It is not hard, but it might take you multiple steps, especially Naturgy, they do it remotely, right? If they need to set you up remotely. Or if they come, whatever they do outside, we don't see it. But for your internet, they actually have to come in, run the wires or whatever. So I'm waiting for them to do a better job, because look at this thing on my wall. Those ugly wires sitting there. I hate that. But I'm thinking, in Maggie form, I would buy a nice little thing, and it's not my house. I am not buying furniture and then having to move with it. Mm-mm. That's fine. That's fine. This is the mindset that you have when you become a retiree, at least for me, that I don't need to have things set up the way I want. If it works, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. Maggie, do you have a bank account? Absolutely. That was one of the first thing I did. I was telling them, I went in there and I sat. They take your passport, because I think when you go to the bank, they put you to the FBI, Scotland Yard, they check because it takes so long. And I was sitting there, and people were finishing and walking away, and I was sitting there. So I went up there and I'm like, I want my passport back. And then she's like, oh, Miss Lizzo. And then she got me. And then you walk around with your debit card, as I said. There is no checkbook. We don't write checks. Everything is done online. Yappy, transfers, that's it. But I like the fact that I can go grab a $20 or whatever from the ATM and I don't get charged. All right? Yes, I do. Well, not me. I think several people had power outage this week. I don't know. Do you remember how when they were having, like some constructions around where you live, and they would hit a power line and would be, something like that happens. Yeah. But one thing I noticed here that doesn't happen when I had what's a company they used to have that did the internet? I forgot. But it's like it starts to get cloudy and the internet would go, or the signal for your TV would go. Here, it could be storming, nothing happens. Aha. So I noticed that. Yes, I think having a bank account here is super important. And now I have two. I have Banismo, which is the bank that was recommended to me when I was here because they have information in English on their website. But apparently they have an app, but it's not super popular. Yappy, no one can beat Yappy. No one. Because it's so popular. Um, but so I have two. I like it. Because if you're going to make transfers from your bank account from the States to here, you're going to pay hefty transfer fees. But one of the things people recommend is that you can write a check from your account in the States. And I tell people, if you can have like $9,800, write it for that, right? Then bring it in, deposit it into your bank here. It's going to take about 2, 3 weeks to clear. But then you have money in your account that you don't have to keep worrying about transferring back and forth. But a lot of people like myself and Sonia here, we use the bank called BAC here. We take our debit card from our bank account in the US. We make ATM withdrawals and we deposit into our bank here. That's how we pay bills. That's how I pay bills. But people talk about all the time online, how much money can you transfer, can you get from your ATM on a daily basis? I think it depends on what you set up on your bank, your daily limit over there. Because after I got robbed, I had to change my daily limits because my thing was my bank, when I was moving over, I said, okay, I'm gonna be leaving the country. All right. They're like, oh, you don't have to tell us. Because when I used to have to go on vacation, going to Europe or whatever, you needed to tell them so that if they see a strange transaction, you could go online and do that. But then they say, oh, we don't do that anymore. If we see anything strange, we'll let you know. But what happened to me, I had one phone, the Panama phone with Wi-Fi. My iPhone did not have Wi Fi on it. My contact with the bank was on the iPhone. So when the guy started swiping my credit cards, there were alerts that came to the iPhone, the US number, that I was not getting until I got up the elevator and I was putting the key in my door and the Wi-Fi in my house started picking up. It was like bing, 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 bing. Do you recognize this transaction? By that time, that guy had swiped for $6,000 worth of stuff because he went through every single credit card that I had, all the Apple card. He used every single one. And then I'm like calling, saying, no, 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 block everything. But the damage was done. So, but they let some of those transactions go through. When the second one came, they blocked it, but the guy was charging 500 at a time. And the first 500 went. So I'm like, you told me you would have, there were cards I had never used, and all of a sudden somebody is swiping for 1,500 and you let it go. Yeah, you better give me my money back. So I had to tighten some things, and I had to change my daily limits. That if somebody got a card, then they cannot withdraw more than a certain amount. You can set that on your US in your US bank so that you know how much. I know how much I can take daily, so I end up making a couple of trips a month to the bank, and I just take it out and walk over and deposit it in the bank. And it's been working beautifully. I keep three phones. After my phone got snatched, oh wow, and had no access to Uber or banking. It's crazy, isn't it? So I have an extra US phone just in case. Yes. I cancel iPhone on my iCloud for my MacBook. They only got the phone. Oh, good. Yes. But now I have three phones here now because I just bought an Android. I like it. The camera is amazing. But if I'm here in my house, my other phone, I have a Wi-Fi. I can go online and do all my stuff. But my WhatsApp is on this phone that has the SIM card from Massmobile, right? Because I don't have a US number anymore. It wasn't working for me when I came back from South Africa. It was just, oh, what a nightmare it was. I could not access my account for like 3 weeks. Talk about panicking. It was a no bueno. Yes. So, does that make it? Does it make sense, Andrea, that you know what to do now for to get your services started? If you don't speak Spanish, I highly recommend that you pay a fixer because it make your life so much easier to get those things done. But I think the real estate is super important. Make sure you get into a good place. You know, I have not moved, and I see sisters who've made two, three moves since I've been here. And I'm like, that's a lot of work. Of course, the last sister is moving. It's not her fault. It's because her landlord, is selling the place or coming back to it, whatever. And I think that's one thing that we keep in mind as immigrants, right? You're in a different country and you don't own your place. Some people own their units. I'm not planning on doing that. But if you are a renter, you are at the mercy of the the owner. They can decide to do whatever they want. Like the two sisters who were here, they said they had to move, and the owner did not give them 30 days. By law, he's supposed to give them 30 days, but they didn't know. You see, what I would have done, I would have said, oh, according to lay this number, you're supposed to give me 30 days. Don't rush me. Don't rush me. I don't care what your transaction is. If you want me to leave in 15, in 2 weeks, are you going to make it worth my while? Yes. Know your rights. And I need to say that iPhones get snatched all over the world. It was not a Panama thing. Just watch your back while taking selfies with the phones out from your body. Yeah, yeah. Well, my iPhone doesn't work anymore here except if I'm indoors, so I would not have that. But I do have the Android, and it cost me a pretty penny. I'm not gonna, not paying attention. Swivel. I don't want anybody snatching anything from me. I tell people, you got me once, you're not gonna get me again. Mm-mm. Nope. Anything else, ladies? Tomorrow I want to make gumbo, but I don't have the seafood yet. So I have to figure out tomorrow going to the fish market early in the morning, but I don't have cash. And where I go to get my fish is like outside of the main showroom where they don't use Yappy. So, efectivo. But I know if I go to Multiplaza, to my bank, they do have an ATM there. Uh-huh. Because the fish at Reba Smith, I go in there and I see Corvina and it says 16, $18 a pound. I'm like, where? I'm not paying that. When I can pay $3 at the fish market, no. I'm not doing that. Mm-mm. I'm that cheap. No. All right. And of course I gotta see if they have okra. That's only one. Well, there was okra this week at Fruteria Mimi in El Cangrejo. Oh, that is kind of out of the way for me. So Reba Smith is a lot more um, accessible. I only get fish at Mercado. I don't like frozen fish, and I'm not paying their prices. I like it fresh off the boat. The tuna, oh, beautiful. called Vina. And at the party I had a couple of weeks ago, I bought this little fish. Every time you go, not inside the showroom, outside, and they're always standing there ripping filleting the fish. They get the skin off, no bones, and I just get a bunch of it. And let me tell you, I did it two ways. I did a blackened fish where, I use my spice grinder and I put allspice, black pepper, cloves, and now this sister brought me cardamom. I'm going to be crazy with cardamom. And then, you put the panko and the bread crumbs and stuff, and you mix it. You put some dry herbs in there, and you already season the fish, and you kind of lightly dip it in that, and then you put it on the skillet. It was a game changer. You can wear some sneakers, Carol. You just have to keep them at the door and drop it inside your washer when you come home. Yes, you don't want to go inside your house with those shoes. No, ma'am. You don't need rubber shoes. Stop it. Rubber boots. You don't need rubber boots. Your sneakers. Don't wear long pants or anything so you don't catch anything. Because sometimes I'm like, and they're cutting something and then a little splash. I go, ee! And they laugh. I'm like, ew. Oh, I don't like that. No, no, no. When you're coming into your apartment, keep the shoes outside your door. Go inside and then take the shoes and dump them in your washer. Yes. Oh, or at the restaurant. Okay. When you go to Mercado de Mariscos, you know where the big sign is? The main entrance? On the side. You don't go to the main entrance. There is like a little restaurant. You walk through the restaurant, and then there's a whole area inside that wraps around where they're selling. That's where the locals go, and then the fish is definitely cheaper. And then they have the cleaning station. There are some people who are just there to clean the fish. So the other day I bought a big snapper. I was cooking for a sister, and I bought a big snapper. I don't like to clean fish. I am not cleaning fish. I am not going to have scales in my hair, in my bra. I don't want to do that. So I saw it and I'm like, oh, if I buy it, how much should I charge to clean it? And then the guy said, 20 cents per pound. I'm like, okay, here. So somebody clean your fish for $1? Yes, I'll pay you to do it for me. Right or left? On the right. On the right. Right? Now the restaurants are like way back in, but this is right before you get to the whole the restaurant. There's a little restaurant where the workers, the people who work at the fish market eat, very like a little fonda. It's not all the restaurants where you go eat, and then you just walk through it, and then you go in, and it's gonna wrap around. And I enter from the other side because I'm coming from Cinco de Mayo when I get off the metro. I walk, get under the overpass, and I get in that way. And I can go around. And then when I get outside, I cross and then I walk to San Felipe. Yes. You know what we're going to do? There are a few ladies who want me to take them and show them. And then on the second floor, we can get lobster. We can buy the lobster and they cook it for us and they do a good job. So that's part of the plan that we're going to do. And of course, Racina started it, but she's going to be traveling. So, yes, but good fish. So, tomorrow, sometime I find blue crab. Crabs are not easy to find at the fish market here. It's not a thing, even though they do have some big indigenous crab legs, but that doesn't go well, in a gumbo. Uh, I said if I found some fresh crab, now those I will clean and then I would put them in bags. But my freezer doesn't have that much room, so you always have to think, right? At home, I had my big fridge. I had an extra fridge in the garage and a freezer because I cooked all the time. But here, I don't want to have so much stuff. That was one thing I was worried about when the electric went out. And I'm like, oh my God, my food's going to go bad. It is going to, thaw out. It's going to be a mess, water. So I was glad it came back. But people say that if the power goes out for hours, if you don't keep opening and closing your fridge, it will hold for a little while. All right. Any questions? Any other question, ladies? Like I might have to make a quick trip to Reba Smith. Where are you originally from? I was born in the Caribbean. I need to downsize some things. Where can I donate clothes? Carol, there was a sister here who was going back home and she found a secondhand store, like a Goodwill. And I said, okay, you don't have, um, she doesn't drive. So she said, Maggie, can you call them and ask them, can I send the clothes with the Uber? And they said, yes. Now, I don't remember where it was, but you probably can find out. And then we just called the Uber, put the thing in their trunk, and then he just donated. But yesterday, or the other day, when I was walking through El Congrejo on Via Argentina, they have the Andre Bello Park. As you enter the park, they have some. You know how we used to have the donation boxes. You open it and you drop your clothes in there. They have one for clothes and I have one for books. Now, of course, they want books in Spanish, I guess, but that's also something. I know with Uber and some churches also are looking for donations. Some charities, like Catholic charities that we had in the States. I don't think they have something like that. But some churches do accept donations and then they take them to the comarcas, to the indigenous sections, and sometimes they do donations like that. Yes, the big metal boxes. They have a recycling area, and then they have one for ropa. It says ropa, which is clothes, and then one for libros, which is books. On Via Argentina. Uh-huh. Yeah, the churches. I mean, if you belong to any other groups, just put it in there and they'll tell you. The WOW group always has referrals for places like that, not just with the pets. Yes, I need to downsize again. I look at the closet and I'm like, when did I, you know? And I'm thinking there are two new birthday parties coming up, and I'm like, what am I gonna wear? That's how you start collecting things. Yeah. Oh, gracias. All right. Any other questions, senoras? Andrea, you said you were going to get your electric set up. Are you clear? As I said, please invest in a fixer. It's going to make your life so much easier. And this guy said he used to be a teacher. He said he's so happy not to have to deal with those children. He's working with expats full time. He drove us all the way to Playa Venal, which was like 5 hours from here. And then he stayed over. We paid for his hotel and he drove us back. And he's a fixer. Yep. You're welcome. A la orden. Remember, that's how you say you're welcome in Panama. A la orden. Con gusto. Yes, the like button. Thank you very much. Oh, we still have some people to hit the like button. I appreciate it. We got to 20,000 subscribers, on to 30. Come on, 30,000. Let's go. I'm going to be doing a lot more neighborhood walks. I think people kind of like that. I'm just running my mouth as I'm walking around. But boy, oh boy, that heat got me. I got up at 8 a.m. It still wasn't early enough. It was hot. Finally, I stopped at a little store, a little restaurant. I didn't want to eat anything. And I'm like, do you have anything free or something? And then I had a guanabana, which is sour soursop drink, She's like, con agua o con leche? I'm like, agua. I did no sugar. And it was so nice just to kind of replenish and rehydrate and just sit somewhere where I wasn't, oh. And then when I get to the metro station, the metro station used to have no AC, believe it or not. We used to be sitting there just sweating and now all of a sudden, like about a year ago, they put AC in. I don't think I've been to one station that didn't have AC. You down there where the tracks are and it's sweltering hot. That was a no bueno. But now when I get in, I'm really hot, and then the what do you call that? The fan is blowing. Sometimes I stand there and I think some people are like, "What is she doing?" I'm like, "I'm cooling off before I get on the train." Oh, yes, you got to walk early. Now, when you get caught in the rain in that park, it's not pretty because so many trees, I get worried a little bit. So, yeah, go early in the morning. That's good. I used to walk to Parque Omar from El Carmen. That was a 20-minute walk up, 20-minute walk down, and then sometime I would do 2 rounds of the park. That was a workout. Yes. But now I get up 7 o'clock. It is so warm here. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna go out there. Mm-mm. The Parque Omar. Oh yes, Parque Omar is beautiful, beautiful, and it's smack in the middle of the city. Yes. Now you have Metropolitan Park too. It's different. Metropolitan Park is more about nature, like a nature trail, right? Look for birds and sloth and stuff like that. So, hi, Maestra, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo estás? How are you? Andrea, what's up, girl? Sonia, thanks for watching. Oh yeah. If your balcony overlooks the park, you're in a good spot. Yep. Hey Maria, you're joining late. I will catch you on the replay. Thanks for that wonderful video in El Congreso. I see they like it. So, where else would you like me guys to take you a walk through, right? Of course, when you say a walk through San Francisco, it's big. What do you want to see? I had footage I could not even put in my video because it would have been hour and a half long. So you kind of have to kind of cut it. In Panama, I've been here almost 4 years now. Yep, I am a veteran now. But I have 2 sisters in my group. One of them has been here 19 years. One of them has been here 16 years. So we have some veterans who've been here a long time, right? It's just a matter of making up your mind and just live your life. There's some new bus routes to get around the old town now. I got on one of those buses, Mi Bus, at Cinco de Mayo, and it does take you through the old city. And I was going to go to the police department. I was asking a question for one of our meetings. And yes, you can get to Casco Viejo, and they have like the mid-sized buses that go in there. How far is Panama Pacifico from me? 20-25 minutes because you have to go over the Bridge of Americas to get there. Did you already know how to speak Spanish? Yes, I did. That's why I'm able to teach it now. I teach online. Today my sister, we started with 203, and she's the only one in my class. She's in class 3. I'm up to 6 classes now. And then I gave her an assignment. She might be watching. And she said, okay, because we're doing the conjugation and the verbs. And then she's one of those who will say, what do you want me to study for next time? She's so eager to learn, right? So, and then she sent me something in the WhatsApp. She's like, this is what I came up with. And she came up with her little old story, and she She said it herself and she's getting it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see older people being committed to learning a language. And of course, I tell people, I myself am not fluent, but let me tell you, I can get by. If I'm going to an office, I don't need somebody to speak for me. I open my bank account by myself. When I got robbed, I went to the police station and gave my report by myself. I go to the doctors by myself. You know what I mean? That's what you want, to be able to function in a foreign country with the language and not always shoving a phone in somebody's face. I'm telling you, they do not like it. They do not like it. Um, do you have a link for your classes? Actually, I need to keep working on the website to link the registration. We haven't done that yet. The site is done, but some of the links aren't working. Oh, and I got so fed up trying to get this guy out of Pakistan to do it. So I put him on the side, so I need to get somebody else to get the links to work. But if you want to join the class, I started my last class Thursday. All we did was, the cultural stuff, the intro, the alphabet. So it's a good time for somebody who wants to start. All my classes start at the very beginning, like you don't know anything. Because people talk about, they look at the apps and you have AI getting talking to you. But if you don't understand how you come up with the sentence, how you create, how you construct, to me, I wouldn't want to learn like that because I need to know how to do it, right? So if you send me your email, let me put my email in the chat, and then I will send you information about the class. And usually your payment is your registration. I have a intro price for people, $20 for the first month, which is $5 a class, you guys. Where else can you get that? I see people advertising for their Spanish classes. They're talking about $30 a class. I'm like, okay, look at that. And not everybody even want to pay that. So, but that's beside the point. I can't deal with that. I'm not criticizing you. You pay for what's important to you. That's it. But you can't have everything for free. I did the free class. I only had 3 people on there, and then I tried to schedule another one, and not one person registered. So it's like, okay, no more freebies because I know what I got. I don't know what you got, right? That's all I can tell them. Okay. I have my email in the chat. They send me an email. All right. Anything else, ladies? Maybe I can assist in your website development. What tool is being used? Doing Squarespace. Squarespace? I want to learn how to properly address people. If I speak to an official in a government office, yeah. An employee at the bank, yeah. But that's where you have to understand. How do you say, I need some help? How do I do this? You got to learn how to do that. And if you just going to copy some phrases, if the phrases is not in front of you, you're not going to know how to do it, right? So you have to learn the basics. This lady said to me, "Oh, I feel dumbed down because you're making me learn the alphabet." But I'm like, how are you going to speak Spanish if you don't know how to pronounce the letters? Because they're not what you know, they don't sound the same. Licensed. Uh, okay. I'm not sure I know what the license mean, but that's why when somebody says to me, "What do you do with yourself all day?" And I'm like, well, let's see. I make videos, and people don't realize how much work goes into making a video. Because once I take the video with my phone, I have to find a way to upload it to my Mac. And then I have to upload it to the software that does the editing. And I can't tell you how many times I would do something and then he wipes it out and I have to start all over again. It's a labor of love. Just like I was sweating bullet, walking the street, showing people around, it's a labor of love. So all we ask is that you just give us a like or subscribe, right? If you want to be a member at 450 or 495 a month, I would appreciate it. It shows that you find value. But all the videos I do, that's free information. Like today, I've given you free information, right? So, and even sometimes that's not enough for some people. Oh, licenciado, yeah, yeah, like a nurse. Mm-hmm. I am a busy lady and I love it. That's why I don't spend time worried about other people's businesses. I keep my head to the ground. I So when that couple was talking about the different groups, and I'm like, oh my God, like this group, they go somewhere every single Wednesday, they do this, they do that. I'm like, I do swap. And then I stay home and mind my business and work on my thing. I don't have time. So I like my life the way it is. I design it like so. And some days I wake up, I stay in my PJs. I was like, I'm not doing anything today. I don't feel like it. This is what retirement is. Retirement is not that you don't do any work. It's like you do work that you want to do, right? That I don't have to answer to anybody. My deadlines are my own and they are fluid and flexible. I can move the post however many times I want. No, I think I'm going to go on vacation for a week. Whatever I'm doing is on hold. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any gentlemen, is that it? Thank you for the likes. I'm going to be heading out to check out Reba Smith so I can find some okra. But I know I have to go to the market in the morning to get the seafood. Oh, my friend. Aw, you guys okay? Do you have tips for people to come down to Panama? Oh, that's a loaded question. What kind of tips? Thank you, Auntie. Do your homework. Start researching Panama or wherever you want to go. Do your research. Watch loads of videos. Yes, there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes I think the challenge is to organize it in a way and organize yourself how you're going to collect the information, whether you're going to have a spreadsheet or you're going to use a notebook, take notes. And sometimes I belong to not that many. I don't sign up for all the groups that are here, but there's certain ones I do. I don't pose questions. I think I belong to a group. I think once I said there was a sister who reached out to me and said she had her daughter and she was looking for a neurologist, a pediatric neurologist, and I'm like, we deal with old people. I don't know, but I posted it in a group, and I'm like, I have a friend who's looking, and then three people answered and attached contact information, and I would have sent it to them. You know what I mean? You just need to know how to access information, and a lot of times if you sign up for somebody's Facebook group, the posts are going to show up on your feed. And sometimes I just like to read the comments to see how people are answering things. When somebody asks a question, I don't answer, I just watch the answers. And sometimes I'm like, that's not quite right, but I'm not going to go in there and correct you. Mm-mm. If you ask me specifically, I will, but I don't know. Like on your website about retreats. Uh, well, we had a retreat last year, and we're kind of thinking about one this year. I don't know. It could be a cruise or it could be something else. We want our retreat to be around Mother's Day, and Mother's Day in Panama is December 8th. So, and that's my son's birthday. So, all right, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a lovely afternoon. I will talk to you soon. I got to think about my next walkabout, neighborhood walk. All right, guys. Have a good afternoon. Que pasen un buen fin de semana. Feliz sábado. Feliz domingo. Au revoir. Bye. Bye, my friends over there. Sonia. Oh my God. I haven't seen you in ages. Mama Comea. How are you, sweetie? Andrea, it's lovely seeing you. Ah, at your service. Well, thank you. Yes, I'm looking for okra to make. I found oh, Carol, this sister brought me the gumbo filet, and apparently in the ingredient is it's a plant. That's all it is. It's a plant. It's a plant that is also a thickener. It's a thickener. So I use all these other plants, but then the thickener, the filet. So, and I was like, why didn't you bring more than one? Ah. All right, ladies. Au revoir. Bye bye. Bye, Lynette. Yes, and I